What is up, everyone dedicated to living with strength? Let me tell you about yesterday. You didn't win, but here is the truth. You didn't lose to someone else, and you didn't lose because life threw impossible challenges at you. You lost because of what was happening inside your own mind. Those quiet thoughts that kept saying you were not good enough. The voice that talked you into hitting snooze just one more time. The mental struggle that started the moment you opened your eyes and you gave up before you even got out of bed. I know some of you reading this just felt something shift inside. I am talking about your exact experience, right? That specific moment when you wake up and instead of being thankful you re-alive for another day, all you feel is this crushing heaviness, like someone stacked 1,000 pounds on your chest while you slept. Your brain turns into a place where you re-putting yourself on trial. You were the one being blamed, and you were also the one doing the blaming. Every mistake you ever made plays on repeat. Every regret. Every single what could have been. That one to leave you alone from the second you wake up. Marcus Aurelius knew exactly what this felt like. This guy was running the entire Roman Empire during a deadly plague and constant warfare. And you know what he figured out? Something that scientists and psychologists are just now starting to fully understand. He sat there writing by the light of a candle, his hands probably shaking, and he wrote this: confine yourself to the present. Just 7 simple words, but those words hold the complete answer to freeing your mind from its own trap. Because here is what actually happens every morning. You're not really dealing with what is happening today. You're battling the ghosts of things that already happened yesterday, last week, last year. And you were also fighting the scary shadows of things that might happen tomorrow, next week, next year. Let me tell you when I discovered these 5 rules from ancient philosophy. It was right after I buried my brother. The sadness took over my mornings completely. Every single sunrise felt like I was being dragged from the safety of sleep back into a world of pain. Sleep was the only time I got a break. Waking up felt like dying all over again, every single day. Then I found these old strategies buried in philosophy books. You know, the ones most people just put on their shelves to look smart. These weren't some nice sounding quotes to make you feel better for 5 minutes. These were actual tools, created through real pain and suffering by people who understood that having a clear mind, ISN, is something extra or nice to have. Having a clear mind is how you survive. I am guessing some of you run your own businesses. Your mind never stops spinning with ideas and possibilities, but also with doubts that freeze you in place. Some of you are parents who wake up already tired, knowing that 20 different people are going to need 20 different things from you before lunch even happens. Maybe you are the type who overthinks everything. You build entire disasters in your head before you even finish your first cup of coffee. Or maybe you are just a regular person trying to make it through a world that seems like it is designed to scatter your thoughts everywhere, like throwing dust into a storm. These 5 rules I am about to share, Aaron, is soft advice. This is a complete transformation of how your brain works. This is the difference between living like your thoughts control you versus becoming the person who controls and builds their own mental world. Tomorrow morning, when you actually use even just one of these ideas, you're going to understand why Seneca said this: everything new catches our attention, but a mind searching for truth turns away from what is new and looks for what is old. We're looking for the ancient wisdom that turned enslaved people into wise teachers and turned soldiers into deep thinkers. This wisdom doesn't care how many followers you have on social media. It doesn't care how much money you have in the bank. It only cares about one single thing: setting your mind free from the prison you've built around it. Remember these 3 words. A clear mind gives you power. Hit the like button if your own thoughts have ever taken over and hijacked your mind. Subscribe right now because this channel brings together ancient wisdom and the struggles we all face today. Send this to someone you know who is drowning in their own mental mess. And pay close attention to every single word coming next. Missing even one idea could mean you miss the key that unlocks your mental freedom. Let's jump into it. Rule number 1. Take control of your mental space before the world takes it from you. When empires stop protecting their borders, they collapse. Your mind collapses the exact same way. Every single morning you wake up without any protection or boundaries around your thoughts. You just let every worry, every anxious thought, every random fear walk straight into your mind like enemy soldiers marching through an open gate. There is no guard standing watch. You're not declaring that this mental space belongs to you. You just surrendering, and you recalling it, waking up. The ancient Stoics had a practice that was so powerful, just saying the words out loud actually changed how their entire day unfolded on a physical level. Marcus Aurelius would stand up, plant his feet firmly on the ground like he was a tree with deep roots, and he would announce to the entire universe that his mind belonged to him. He wasn't asking for help. He wasn't hoping he feels strong. He was commanding strength into reality by speaking words filled with complete intention. He would say, "Today I'm going to run into people who interfere with me, people who are ungrateful, people who are rude, people who are disloyal, people with bad intentions, and selfish people." He didn't say this because he was negative or expecting the worst. He said it because it gave him power. When he named exactly what he might face, those challenges couldn't catch him off guard or knock him off balance anymore. He became the one telling his own story before anyone else could write it for him. Your daily declaration ISM about trying to predict every problem that might happen. It is about establishing complete control over how you respond to things. Tomorrow morning, before your feet even touch the floor, before reality sinks its claws into you are going to speak your power into existence. To whisper it like you, asking for something. Say it out loud like you, making an announcement that cannot be challenged. Say this: I am the protector of my thoughts. I am the writer of my reactions. I am the creator of this day. Feel how completely different those words feel compared to how you normally start your mornings. Your body, its nervous system can tell the difference between real authority and authority you create through your words. When you declare that you are in charge of your mental world, your brain chemistry actually changes. The stress hormone cortisol goes down. The feel-good chemical dopamine levels out. Your body literally prepares itself for clarity instead of chaos. I learned this truth after I lost everything when my business fell apart. Every morning became a torture session where my brain forced me to watch every bad decision I made over and over. Then I started saying out loud, sometimes with tears running down my face, I get to choose my thoughts. My thoughts do not get to choose me. The first week, it felt like I was lying to myself. The second week, it felt like I was hoping it might be true. By the third week, that statement became truth carved permanently into the pathways of my brain. This isn't about pretending everything is fine or thinking positive thoughts. This is mental combat. You re-establishing your first stronghold in your own mind before the day its battles even start. You redrawing a clear line in your consciousness and challenging any thought to cross that line without your explicit permission. Epictetus understood this. He was born as a slave but became a respected philosopher by understanding this one thing. No one can hurt you without your permission. Every morning up until now, you've been handing out that permission for free to anyone and anything. Tomorrow, you take it back. Tomorrow, you declare that your mind belongs to you. Rule number 2. Think about death to discover what actually matters every morning. You stay away from looking at yourself in the mirror. It's not because you dawn like how you look. It's because you dawn like the reality that reflection shows you. One more day has passed. You're one day older, one day closer to the end. The ancient Stoics had a daily practice that is so direct and intense. People today immediately pull back from it. Each morning, they would look straight into their own eyes in the mirror and say 2 words out loud that most people spend their entire lives trying to avoid thinking about. Memento mori, remember death. They didn't do this because they were obsessed with death or wanted to be dark and depressing. They did it because of urgency. Because nothing cuts through the fog in your mind faster than remembering that your expiration date ISN to some abstract concept way off in the future. It is coming toward you right now. With every single breath you retaking while reading these words. Seneca wrote this: "Let us get our minds ready as if we reach the very last day of our lives." He wasn't trying to be overly dramatic. He was being precise and mathematical about it. Think about it this way. If you get maybe 30,000 days in your whole life, and you've already used up 10,000 of them, or 15,000, maybe even 20,000, then wasting this morning on mental chaos and confusion is something you literally do you have enough time for. Tomorrow morning, stand in front of your mirror. Look into your own eyes like you, looking at a stranger who knows all your deepest secrets. Notice the small lines that are starting to form on your face. See the changes that are happening. All the proof that time ISN, sitting around waiting for you to get your life together. Then ask yourself this one question that instantly removes all the small, meaningless thoughts from your mind. If today was my final morning on earth, which thoughts actually deserve my attention? All of a sudden, that stupid argument you had with someone completely disappears. That comparison you were making between yourself and someone on social media becomes ridiculous. That perfectionist thinking that stops you from starting to chase your dreams becomes an actual crime against yourself. Death works as the ultimate filter for your mind. It removes everything that doesn't actually matter and lights up everything that does matter. I started doing this practice after I sat with my grandmother while she was dying. She was full of regrets. Through the fog of her pain medication, she whispered to me, "I wasted so many mornings worrying about such tiny, unimportant things." She grabbed my hand with a strength that surprised me when she said it. Now, every single morning, I look at my own mortality in the mirror. Not to make myself sad or depressed, to make myself able to make clear decisions. Your mind fills itself up with junk when you think like you're going to live forever. You make plans like you have an unlimited number of mornings to waste on an unlimited number of worries. But you don't have that. That work presentation that is keeping you awake at night, in 5 years, nobody is going to remember it even happened. That person who turned you down or rejected you, that is temporary. Your dreams that you keep pushing off and postponing, those dreams have an end date too. And that date is getting closer every single morning you wake up without a clear mind. The mirror tells you the truth. Time doesn't pause for anyone. And every morning you waste in mental confusion and fog is a morning that is gone forever. You will never get it back. Memento mori, I said. Really about death at all. It is about life. It is about clearing out all the mental garbage that stops you from living completely and fully during the small number of mornings you actually get to have. Rule number 3. Lose everything in your imagination to win everything in the real world right now. While you lying safe in your bed this morning, I want you to completely destroy your entire life. But only in your mind. The Stoics had a name for this practice. Premeditatio malorum. That means deliberately thinking about all the bad things that could happen. But calling it evil is wrong. This is actually freedom pretending to be lost. Close your eyes, your job disappears, gone. Your relationship ends completely. Your health falls apart. Your reputation gets destroyed. Feel that sensation of falling in your stomach. That basic, primitive fear rising up. Now take a breath, a real, deep breath. Because you're still right here. You're still breathing. You're still able to do things. Everything you were terrified of losing has already been taken away in this mental exercise. And yet, surviving it. Actually, doing more than just surviving. Rediscovering what Marcus Aurelius figured out a long time ago. Misfortune that you handle with dignity becomes good fortune. Modern self-help culture tells you to picture yourself being successful, to visualize winning. The Stoics knew something better. They visualized losing everything to become unbeatable. Because once you've already lost everything in your mind and made it through, real life can't terrorize you anymore with threats and fear. Your morning anxiety about that big meeting at work, you've already been fired in your mental practice and you found a path forward anyway. Those fears you have about your relationship, you've already gone through the breakup in your mind and discovered that you're still complete as a person without them. This isn't to being negative or pessimistic. This is giving your mind an immunity shot against fear. Every single morning, frozen in place by thinking about what might go wrong. But when you purposely imagine the absolute worst thing that could happen, something amazing occurs. Your mind stops treating potential loss like it is a terrorist holding you hostage. Instead, it starts treating loss like a teacher giving you lessons. I started practicing this technique after my mother got her diagnosis. Every morning, I would visualize the worst possible outcomes. The treatment's not working. The goodbye I wasn't emotionally ready for. The empty chair at the Christmas dinner table where she always sat. It sounds like torture when I describe it that way. But it actually set me free. Because when those fears were hiding in the shadows of my mind, they had complete control over me. When I pulled them out into the daylight through this visualization practice, they transformed into just scenarios. Painful scenarios, yes. But scenarios I could survive. Tomorrow morning, take 3 minutes for deliberate destruction in your mind. Lose all your money and then realize you still have your brain and your ability to think. Lose your status and social position and then realize you still have your character and who you are as a person. Lose every single external thing and discover what lasts forever. Your ability to think. Your ability to make choices. Your ability to respond with strength and virtue no matter what circumstances you refacing. Here is the paradox that breaks most people's brains but creates stoic clarity. When you've already lost everything in your mind, you gain everything in your emotions and spirit. Fear can't hold on to you anymore because you already survived the thing you were afraid of. Anxiety melts away because you already walked through the worst possible scenario and came out the other side. This isn't about training yourself to be negative or expecting bad things. It is about becoming impossible to shake or break. When you begin each morning having already survived your deepest fears mentally, you move through your day like someone who already died once and came back to life. Nobody can touch you. Nothing can stop you. Unclear and confused thoughts can exist in a mind that has already looked its demons in the face over a cup of morning coffee. Rule number 4. Separate your thoughts like a doctor separates tissue during surgery. Your mind feels like a battlefield because you fighting wars that you already lost. And you lost them yesterday or last year. You lost them before they even started because you trying to control things that nobody can control. It's like trying to hold water tight in your closed fists while it pours out between your fingers, and you end up drained and with nothing to show for it. Epictetus knew what real chains felt like because he was actually a slave. But he found true freedom through one revolutionary understanding. He said, "Some things are in our control, while other things are not." Those are basic words, but they contain the complete plan for getting a clear mind. Yet every morning when you wake up, you break this rule. You waste valuable mental energy trying to control the traffic, the weather, what other people think about you, the past, the future. Everything except the one single thing you can actually control: how you respond. Tomorrow morning, get a piece of paper and make 2 columns. Write "my territory" at the top of the first column. These are the things under your total control: your thoughts, your actions, how you respond to things, how hard you try, your honesty and character. Write "not my territory" at the top of the second column. That is everything else. How other people react, the state of the economy, how tall you are, the mistakes you made yesterday, arrows flying at you, uncertainties about life. Now watch this. 90% of your morning anxiety and stress belongs in that second column, the one you can control. This isn't about just accepting things and giving up. This is brilliant strategy. When a general in ancient Rome divided up his army into different groups, he wasn't giving up territory to the enemy. He was putting his power and strength where it could actually make a real difference. Your mental energy isn't unlimited. It runs out. Every single moment you waste trying to control how someone else behaves is a moment you stole from controlling your own excellence and growth. I figured this out when my father was dying. I spent months trying to control his sickness. I researched every treatment I could find. I argued with his doctors. I tried bargaining with God, making deals. All of that energy completely wasted on something I could never control. And while I was doing that, I missed the things I could control, being there with him, saying the things that needed to be said, loving him without putting any conditions on it. His illness was never in my territory, not ever, but my response to it always was in my territory. Feel how freeing this separation is. That person who doesn't appreciate what you do for them, not your territory. Your decision to keep giving your best effort anyway, that is your territory. The stock market crash that destroyed your investments, not your territory. Your choice to learn from it, adjust, and start rebuilding, that is your territory. Every single thought that tortures you in the morning belongs in one column or the other. No exceptions to this rule, no overlap between them, no confusion allowed. Marcus Aurelius had power over the entire known world at that time, but he still wrote, "You have control over your mind, not outside events." Understand this, and you will discover strength. He could give orders to entire armies, but he couldn't order the rain to stop. Seneca was sentenced to die, but he couldn't force people to respect him. Marcus could control the city of Rome, but he couldn't control every single Roman person living there. When you separate your thoughts with the precision of a surgeon, having a clear mind isn't just possible. It becomes guaranteed. Rule number 5. Turn every thought from an enemy into a teacher. This last rule is going to sound completely crazy at first, but it will become the thing that saves you. Every terrible thought that wakes you up, every anxiety that takes hold of you, every fear that freezes you in place. I want you to love it, not just put up with it, not just accept that it exists. Actually love it with the intense passion of someone hugging a best friend they haven't seen in years. Nietzsche called this amor fati, which he borrowed from the Stoics. It means the love of fate, the love of whatever happens. But it goes deeper than that. It is about recognizing that every difficult thought showing up in your morning mind isn't to an enemy soldier invading your territory. It is actually a teacher who is dressed in painful clothes, bringing you lessons you need that are wrapped up in packages you don't want to receive. That anxiety you feel about your work presentation, it is teaching you what actually matters to you in life. That grief you carry over losing someone, it is teaching you how deep your ability to love really goes. That fear of failing, it is teaching you exactly where your growing edge is, where you need to develop. Every uncomfortable thought that arrives in your morning is like a masterclass in becoming the person you were supposed to be. But you keep skipping the class because you don't like what the teacher looks like. Marcus Aurelius didn't just accept difficult situations and circumstances. He wrote this: the thing blocking action actually moves action forward. What stands in the way becomes the way forward. Your morning mental chaos and confusion isn't to blocking the path to clarity. It is the actual path to clarity, but only if you stop treating it like an enemy and start treating it like a teacher. I discovered this truth after my accident that left me unable to walk for several months. Every morning brought physical pain, frustration, and thoughts about everything I had lost. Hating those thoughts made them more powerful, gave them more control over me. Then one morning, completely broken down and exhausted from fighting against it all, I tried something that seemed insane. I welcomed the pain into my day. I thanked the limitation for being there. I embraced the frustration like it was a teacher showing up at exactly the right moment when I needed the lesson. The pain taught me how to be present in the moment. The limitation taught me how to be creative in ways I never had been before. The frustration taught me patience that I never would have learned if my life had stayed comfortable. Every negative morning thought became a doorway that led to qualities and strengths I had been too comfortable to develop before. The obstacle literally transformed into the path forward. Tomorrow morning, when those familiar demons show up the moment you become conscious, don't to put armor on to protect yourself from them. Instead, open your arms wide. Say out loud, "Welcome, teacher. What are you here to show me today?" Watch how the thoughts that used to terrorize you turn into interesting opportunities for you to grow. Watch how your resistance changes into curiosity. Watch how your worst morning thoughts become your best teachers. This isn't the fake positivity where you pretend everything is great when it's not. This is warrior philosophy. The Stoics didn't become great by running away from difficult thoughts. They became great by transforming every single thought into fuel that powered their greatness. You started watching this video as someone who was drowning in morning mental chaos and confusion. You re-ending it as someone who now has 5 ancient keys that unlock mental freedom. But keys sitting in your hand don't to open any doors by themselves. They require action. Tomorrow morning, when you wake up and consciousness comes back and those familiar mental battles start up again, you're going to have a choice in front of you. You can go back to your old patterns, just letting your thoughts scatter everywhere like dead leaves blowing around in a storm. Or you can actually use even just one of these rules and watch your entire mental world transform right in front of you. The morning declaration that announces you in charge. The mirror practice with mortality that creates urgency about what matters. The negative visualization that makes you unbeatable. The control exercise that brings you peace. The amor fati embrace that transforms every obstacle into an opportunity. Marcus Aurelius wrote these exact words while he was in his tent, completely surrounded by death and chaos happening all around him. At dawn, when you were having trouble getting yourself out of bed, tell yourself this: I have to go do my work as a human being. Your real work isn't to your job. Your real work is mastering your own mind. Everything else in your life follows from that mastery. The Stoics never promised that mornings would be easy. What they promised was that mornings would be clear. They didn't get rid of difficult thoughts. They transformed those thoughts into stepping stones on the path toward wisdom. Tomorrow morning, you join their group, not as someone who is perfect at this, but as someone who is brave enough to actually try it. Someone brave enough to face your own thoughts with philosophy instead of fear. Like this video if you were ready for tomorrow's transformation. Subscribe so you can join a community of people choosing clarity over chaos. Share this with someone whose mornings need a complete revolution. Drop a comment below telling us which rule you are going to implement first. Your clear morning is waiting for you. Your mental empire needs its emperor. Get up and claim your clarity.